Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Satyajit and you're watching Satyajit's Artwork. I hope you guys are doing well, although the situation is not good all around the globe, but it is actually not in our hand to control this. We just have to move on with our life. So as you can see that guys, in today's video I'm going to draw a portrait using graphite pencils. I have not made such videos on my channel earlier. I think it is my first graphite portrait drawing in this channel. And funnily enough, when I initially started taking art seriously, then I just thought of only one medium at that period of time, and it was about graphite pencils. I thought that I'd be working throughout my life only using this particular medium. But you know how life changes and how the things eventually changes, and you just end up landing somewhere else. The same happened to me. After working in graphites for a substantial period of time, like 2 years or so, I found that I just need to explore some other things apart from only using graphite. So I just looked for some other mediums like watercolors, acrylics, etc. And eventually with time, all those mediums became my favorite, and somewhere down the line I just felt that connection with graphite over the period of time. But now, as in this lockdown period, you know that we all are stuck in a place. So after working out with different mediums, as you can see other videos on my channel, they are mostly using watercolors, acrylics and some other mediums. So I just thought that why not I just give a try to this particular medium which once I loved so much, that is graphite. And one of my favorite subject is like portraits. So I just thought of doing this particular portrait of a small boy, and I just found his expressions very engaging, and it is like so intriguing that I was forced to draw this. And as you know, I also told in my earlier videos that I choose the reference images on the basis of this only. That particular face and that particular portrait should intrigue me. It should intrigue my aesthetics, my feelings about things, and in that case only I just go for drawing or painting that. I think I have just prolonged this particular intro too much, but now as we are moving to the main part for which you might have clicked to this video, and that is about sharing a few of the tips that I learned over the period of time while using graphites that I think will be beneficial going ahead. And you will be thinking like, I'm hoping that some of you are beginners, so if you know about those particular things at this point of time, then I think going ahead you'll be feeling like that it is quite beneficial to have all those tips before taking too much with this medium. So I'll start with the very basic and the very obvious tips, and it is about drawing. See, whenever we start initially with graphite and anything that we drew, any still life, portraits or whatever, in that case we undermine a very important aspect, and it is drawing. We just don't give enough emphasis on the drawing. We just kind of like feel to joy to move to the section of rendering where we just will just use the different things in order to smudge and all those stuffs that I'll be discussing later. So we undermine that particular aspect, which is very essential when it comes to drawing, because if you don't know how to draw freehand, then it doesn't matter how well you render. Somewhere down the line you will feel a bit of insecure when it comes to drawing, because it is not going to enhance your confidence of drawing freehand. So I'll highly suggest that if you are starting out, then don't get too much into the shading and the rendering part initially. You just try to draw well. You just try to draw well using freehand rather than using the mechanical methods at the first sight. I know initially it will not be good. Initially it will not be of that level where you can be proud of yourself, but over the period of time it will really going to pay off when you look ahead to your works after spending 3 or 4 years in drawing. So it is one of the important aspects. Another aspect I'll be discussing is about shading and the values. So whenever we start drawing, especially in graphites, then in that case, what we do is we kind of like go to Google and we just kind of download the celebrity images and all those images that we like, and we kind of think like that we should be taking the images on the basis of how light they are. I don't know about others, but initially when I started, I just used to do that particular thing. I used to take the celebrity images where the lighting was so artificial and there was not enough values present in those photographs. It was all about a very light tone and the very dark tone. So what I missed in that particular time is the understanding of values, the light, dark and the mid-tones. The mid-tones was certainly missing in those photographs, and I just wasn't aware of that for some time until I learned about this facts. So that particular aspect is very essential. If you are just starting out with the graphite, you try to study the values. It is not essential that you should be going for a full-fledged drawing at the very first sight. If you just also practicing some drawings from observation and other things, then you also look for that particular aspect, which is shading. Another important aspect, and I think it is the most talked about aspect when it comes to drawing, is about smudging. I initially was very much like into smudging. When we generally start drawing, we look at the internet and we find some of the fantastic photorealistic works by some of the great artists. Like when I started, I used to look at the works of J.D. Hilbery sir, Eric Macwell sir. Then there are some greats from India also, like Sadashiv Sawant sir, then Shashikant Dhotre sir. Although Shashikant Dhotre was mainly working, and he's still working in colored pencils, but although it was a pencil medium, so I just thought that I should be following that. But I wasn't aware of the fact that what are the things that works behind those people's masterpieces, that they put a lot of things behind their works in order to make it look like. It is not about just rubbing with a cotton rag and etc. that is going to give me that particular result. Because initially when I started, I just thought that something which is very prolific and something which is very refined is like beautiful. If I'm just going to do skin tones, then in that case I'll be preferring to use a cotton rag or something else in order to smooth that area out, without understanding about the different aspects that I shared with you just before, like the values and all those things. So it was all about like smudging. But over the period of time, I just learned that, for an example, in this particular drawing also, I hardly used any smudging. It will be like on certain areas, and that I also used my fingertips. Although some people just avoid that, but I don't mind using my fingertips. Some people say that you can end up putting oils on the paper, but as my style is not like that very photorealistic, so I don't mind that. So you can see that if you look closely, you will be able to see the grains of the paper which are actually retained. In this case, I'm not trying to push it so hard on the paper that it actually end up becoming flat. So what sometimes initially when we start we do is like that we try to ruin the tooth of the paper and we just want to make it look flat and refined, and with that we have achieved something that has never been achieved. So that is a particular aspect that I think we should be looking for when it comes to drawing. So another important aspect is about detailing and setting your targets. So as I told earlier, you have to be very specific about where you are reaching. Initially, it is very common that you should be targeting some of the peoples who are like legends at their place, as I mentioned some of the names earlier. So if you are just trying to follow them, then you will end up getting frustrated at the end of the day, because those peoples have done a lot of hard work and they have dedicated their time only to this particular aspect, and they have developed their own techniques. So that is the important thing. You need to develop your own techniques and you need to develop your own aesthetic goals that you want to achieve, rather than just following someone else. For an example, in this particular drawing also, it is said to be realistic. This is a realistic drawing, but this is not a photorealistic drawing. For an example, at this point also, if you just look at this, I'm just working on the hairs, but the hairs is looking very grainy. The hair doesn't look like this, but I'm not trying to look each individual hairs at this stage. I'm just looking at it as a clump, and when you just look at it as clump, then you find that this is hair. So it depends on your perception, that how you look at things. So that is a very important thing. I think when we initially start, we don't get enough guidance and all those stuffs which can actually lead you to that direction, that you should not be trying to make it look like photorealistic until and unless you are just like so passionate about photorealism. Like initially I was, but over the period of time I developed a feeling of experimenting with my own thoughts and the style that I want to work. So now I'm coming to that important aspect as well, which is stylization. As you can see in this case also, I have done this face in quite detail. I mean, as I said earlier, this detail is based on my perspective. There can be a lot of details. Now some people will say that I have just overworked it, some people will say that I have underworked it. So it is about the perception, that the way how you look at things. So as you can see that I have just made sufficient amount of details on the face, and I wanted to make the background look something jazzy and a bit abstract, so that it creates contrast with the face and the face becomes emphasized. So that is also very important, guys, when you are just starting out, because you don't know about a lot of things and you just try to copy all of them together, which actually ruins your own thought. Initially you might be following for one or two pieces, but it's really great if you can just look at your own way at the things, because reality exists in different shapes. You just need to find it. It is not like a very rigid subject that you are working on. Now with saying that, I would like to conclude this video. As you can see that here is the finished piece, guys, and this photograph was taken after the fixative was applied, so you can see a bit of difference from the video. So I hope, guys, this video was helpful, and see you soon in my next video. Till then, take care and keep working.
Hey guys, thanks a lot for watching. If you want to support my work, then please do like, comment and share my works, and also don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon, which is very important, so that you get notified as soon as I post a new video.